Like most of us, I am very fascinated by the whole Assassin's Creed incident that we had and what it represented. So I was reading through one of the stories that is talking about a live broadcast and his cellmates yelling out the window at news reporters. But as I got to the bottom of that particular article, this what he said the other day when they were arraigning him in court and when he yelled at the reporters, he said this: completely out of touch and an insult to the intelligence of American people and their lived experience. This is completely unjust and an insult to the American people. Is it? Do you really feel insulted by the healthcare system in America? So I took those comments, I stuck them into ChatGPT, and it came back with high cost, lack of universal coverage, medical debt, and profit driven system. I took those, I generated a title, created a story, and then I did talking points. Inevitably, it comes down to this: Americans are often told they have freedom of choice when it comes to healthcare. But what does that choice really mean? Most people are limited by their insurance network, employer provided plans, or the few facilities they can afford. When emergencies happen, you're stuck with whatever provider is nearest, whether you're in network or not. So, as a person that tries to use as little health insurance as humanly possible, I um excuse me. Um I don't understand why they check well the why they can take $150 out of every paycheck for the lowest level medical insurance plan that they have. And based on the story I'm going to tell you guys about this issue, it's something that some people can't afford. I was talking to a coworker yesterday who said he doesn't have health insurance because the amount of money that they expect him to pay into health insurance for him and his family is $1,200 a month. That's a 1 week worth of pay for him that they would take if he was paying for the provided insurance through your employer. Some people have to pay even more than that. Like the single mom office worker that works in my building, she pays $600 per month for her and her child. And I'm like, but you only make like $300 a week, $300 or $400 a week working there, and you're just kind of like, wait a minute. And then not only is it the cost, but the overall coverage. And this is just my experience. In the last year, my I don't even know what to call this guy. I don't know anything about him other than he probed me in my physical without really giving me a chance to realize that it was going to be like that. It's like getting fleeced in the doctor's office. Anyhow, this guy noticed that there was something wrong with my heartbeat, right? So he decided that it would be a good idea for me to go to a cardiologist and start going through all of these exams. You're talking about thousands of dollars worth of specialists to go see for all kinds of different examinations and an MRI. And I came back, everything was perfectly normal. And I'm not saying that, well, what if something was wrong? I'm saying that because there was nothing wrong with me, I spent thousands of dollars on exams that I didn't need to prove that I was perfectly healthy. But in a situation like that, what if you don't have medical insurance? Because when I went to go get a scan on my leg, I looked at the woman that was working there. You could tell that she was poor. She was wretchedly poor. And I came there to get an X-ray, and I asked her when she told me what my copay was for this procedure. She said it was $300, and I just looked at her, but I have insurance. And she's like, "You don't want to know what the actual cost is." And I said to her, "How can ordinary people afford this?" And she just looked at me straight in the eyes, dead eyes, and she says, "Most people can't afford this." And I'm like, "But health insurance." And she's like, I know she wanted to laugh at health insurance because it is a joke. What they don't cover is absolutely ridiculous. But again, we live in a capitalist society where we put profits before people, and that will never change until a change is forced upon it, which again brings us to Assassin's Creed here. This is a dude that looked at the system, saw it, was probably angry as can be, as any person can be. Because once you decide that you're going to take the change in society into your own hands, something has to break inside of your melon. Ordinary people are programmed, indoctrinated, I would say, to believe in the system. There are people who believe so hard in the system that any change to the system would mess up the reality. It's what they say about why the government lies to us about UFOs. I personally think that Bigfoot, Mothman, Yeti, all of the cryptids, they exist out there. That's just me. But the grainy footage that we get is is not good evidence. And when we try to look at the evidence of a great healthcare system in America, it's just as elusive as Bigfoot, is what I'm getting at. It's not good. It's not working. And for the people that can afford the top notch healthcare, it costs them, well, let's put it this way. If you have to ask, you can't afford it. That's healthcare in America. It has a sticker price on it that is not for regular people. If you get really sick, and even if you do have medical insurance, you're going to go into debt. And imagine not having medical insurance, because that's what today's story is. So here we go with today's story. Let me tell you a story. How did I know that was going to happen? It's about me, it's about you, it's about everyone in this country who's ever looked at a hospital bill and thought, how is this even legal? Last year, my son broke his arm, a simple accident. He fell off his bike. You'd think fixing a broken bone would be routine. But the bill was $18,000. A few x rays, a cast, 20 minutes of a doctor's time. I don't have insurance. How could I? Working two part time jobs doesn't leave much room for luxuries like healthcare. So I asked the doctors, how am I supposed to pay this? You know what they said? We'll work out a payment plan. Like I can squeeze blood from a stone. And this is exactly what the dentist did to me. Like, oh, this is going to be $6,000. By the way, your insurance isn't going to cover any of this. And we'll just put you on a $200+ plan for 24 months. And I was like, but wait a minute. I can't afford this. But the dentist will tell you, but you need it. And you're like, well, I can't afford it. That's all right. We'll put you on a payment plan. It always comes down to putting you on a payment plan. All right, let me ask you something. How is it that we're the richest country in the world, but people like me have to choose between groceries and going to the doctor? How is that one trip to the ER can wipe out a family's entire savings? The truth is, the system isn't broken. It's working exactly how it was designed to, just not for us. They don't want you to know this, but every dollar you spend on healthcare, every inflated drug price, every surprise bill, it's not going to save lives. It's going to the CEOs, shareholders, executives who sit in the glass towers counting their millions while people like me ration insulin or skip doctor's visits entirely. And don't even get me started on insurance. You pay thousands in premiums only to be told, sorry, that's not covered. Or that's out of network. Out of network? What does that even mean when I'm dying? Oh my God. ChatGPT sure does have a spicy sense of humor today. What does that even mean? It's like you're laying on the hospital bed and the doctor's like, I could help you. I know how to help you. I know what to do. But unfortunately, my hands are tied because what you need done is out of network. So we're just going to have to look at each other uncomfortably until you drift out of this existence. Sorry. You just look at him. Now imagine That's your scenario. And let's say you, for some reason, you pull through. You're going to be very, very angry at a system that looked at you and said, sucks to be you, looking at you in the eyes, like, poking at you, waiting for you to pass over to the other side. And then suddenly they realize that you're going to make a full recovery, and they're like, uh oh, now what do we do? You have a mortal enemy for the rest of your life. I kid you not. I mean, what else would happen? Let's get back to the story. I know what you're thinking. Why don't you just get better insurance? Why is that always an option? Why do these people always think, oh, if you don't like your job, why don't you get a better job? You don't like your car, get a better car. Don't like the girl that you're with because she's short, unattractive, and you have to close your eyes every time that you pretend that you're with someone else. Yes, but the answer is always get something better. It's like, why didn't I think of that? Why am I with Susie Rottencrotch instead of with Susie Homemaker? Because Susie Rottencrotch is the only one that will give me the time of day. And I wish. Why don't you get a better job? Next line in the script. Oh my god. I couldn't have made this up. Believe me, I've tried, but this isn't about personal choice. It's about a system that was built to keep people like me down. But here's the thing, we don't have to accept this. Other countries have figured it out. Why can't we? Universal healthcare isn't a dream, it's a necessity. It's the difference between survival and despair. So I'm asking you, I'm begging you, look at your bills, your coverage, your own experience, and ask yourself who's really benefiting from this system? Because it's not us. It's definitely not us. I just got back from the doctor and I'm waiting for him to hit me out for whatever hundreds of dollars that aren't covered by my insurance. I mean, calling insurance at this point, insurance seems more, it almost seems distasteful because insurance implies that you're covered, right? Like the what do they call it? Unemployment insurance, which is a joke. You can't live off unemployment insurance. Your car insurance only covers so much of an accident or your medical bills. This insurance is a scam. It always has been. Because if insurance really was what it's supposed to be, insuring you completely for all of your damages, then they wouldn't be able to profit from it. That's what it comes down to. Insurance to me is a 10% discount code that you get. Like a coupon they send you in the mail. We're only going to cover you for this, this, and this, and the rest of it is up to you. But guess what? We're still going to take all of this money out of your pocket. I've had car insurance on my car now for almost 3 years. $200 a pop for 3 years. How many claims have I put in against my car insurance? Zero. Now, the second that something happens, I'm a fairly safe driver, so I don't expect anything to. But the second that something happens, you become their enemy. Just like the person who's laying there asking the doctors to help them. When you look at the insurance company, when it finally comes to them paying out, the second you need something from them, it's like they don't know you. And it's intentional. They don't want you filing claims. Because if the more claims they have to pay out, the less profits there are for them. So they sell you the illusion of insurance. But you are only on good terms with the insurance company until you need something. Imagine that. Imagine if you are in a relationship with a beautiful woman and suddenly your relationship comes down to, hey, by the way, we haven't you haven't let me mount up in a few months, maybe a couple of years. It's like, can I get some? Suddenly she just gives you that look. Like, you disgusting piece of crap. How dare you ask me for some of this premium pink taco when you know you're not supposed to get any. We're in a relationship, but it's one sided. You give, but you don't get. And that's exactly what insurance of any kind is. As long as you stay in the relationship and you're paying your fair share, we're great. Everything's cozy. But the second your little thing stands up and you need love, there's no love here. This is a loveless relationship we have with the insurance system. They don't care about us until you stop paying. Once you stop paying, they're like, just like the credit card companies. They love collecting that interest off of you. But the second you run into hard times and you can't afford to pay for that 20 to 30% interest rate on money that you shouldn't have taken out, bam, you're a person that's not welcome anymore. Susie Rottencrotch knows what's up. The healthcare system knows what's up. As long as everyone stays perfectly healthy, the system is working as it was intended. Don't get sick, proletariat, especially those of you who can't afford health insurance, because it will ruin you. Getting sick is a guaranteed way that you will be financially destroyed. So, whatever you do, don't get sick. And whatever you do, don't get into a relationship with a woman that doesn't want to put out. Because eventually you're going to get tired of shaking hands with the governor morning, noon, and night. And you can literally see it with your own two beady eyes. The peak taco's right there. It's in its prime. It's looking good. It's smelling like chicken. And bam, literally safety glass right into it. The more you try to get it, the more your thing starts to bleed. You're like, what the heck happened here? That's what our relationship is like. It's all fun and games till it comes down to getting some. So, how are they going to end this story? Is it going to have a happy ending? I'm hoping. Let's see. The American health system is just failing us. It's robbing us. And until we demand change, we'll keep paying more and getting less. Damn you, Susie Rottencrotch. I hate getting less. Okay, so the rest of it is the ChatGPT giving up on any solutions to the system. Oh my god. Even ChatGPT has nothing to say. It's like, well, how do we fix this? Oh no, it's not fixable. You want pink taco? Unfortunately, you're gonna have to find another provider. And chances are, even if you do find another provider, you're gonna look at her and be like, you know what? It's time. And she's gonna look at you, time for what? Time to get back what I've been putting in all my premiums. She's like, you're delusional. This is only a taker system. The second you need anything, it wasn't built that way. It seems like every part of society was built that way. You go to work, you help the company make millions of dollars, record profits every year. Like I put in a comment, Walmart makes over 300,000 off the back of every single one of its minimum wage workers. But imagine that. The average wage is coming back to the worker or minimum wage plus. That means that on average you're making $25,000 a year. All that extra profit stays with the corporation. And for some reason, someone told me to stop watching the Epic Economist because they're fear mongering. Look outside your door. Look at the world around you. Look at your job. Look at your promobile. Look at your housing. Shouldn't you be living in fear already? Aren't you afraid of a system that truly doesn't want you to even be alive? I don't know what's wrong with people that they've convinced themselves that everything's great, economy's great, jobs are great, education's great, healthcare's great. But look, open up your damn eyeballs. We had a 26-year-old guy, sacrifice the rest of his life just so that he could yell at people and tell them that you're completely living in an unjust system, and he was willing to do what it takes. I don't condone violence on this channel. I don't condone what happened, but the idea, the reason he sacrificed himself. This guy laid it all out there. Sure, he was probably crazy, but most of us are crazy. I'll tell you for a fact, I'm most likely the craziest person you've ever met. And that's why I'm not. You guys asked me to do a face reveal. I'm insane. Obviously, crazy people don't want to be identified in public. It's hard enough to do these videos and not think to myself, you know what, there's someone out there listening that thinks right now MS probably is crazy. He's off his meds. He's off his rocker. He's insane. We should lock him up right now. In fact, I should probably turn myself in for being crazy, for wanting to live in a world in which you have the right to be alive. And you don't have to have some doctor looking at you. It's like, well, you could have made better choices before we ended up sitting here waiting for you. Yeah, for whatever's going to happen. Oh no, Millennial Steam soiled himself while he was passing over. Get a cleanup, get a bucket. Well, gonna have to clean up this poor man's mess. Even in the afterlife, MS is causing problems for the world.